Good afternoon, everyone. It's really my pleasure to be with you today, and thank you so much for joining my session. I guess we are now in the critical part of the day where you will be the urge to sleep. Okay, so I hope that the topic I will be talking about will keep your brain excited and keep your body awake. Yeah. So we'll be talking about the Microsoft Cognitive Services. To start, just a couple of words about myself. So I'm an independent IT consultant. I've been providing consulting services here in Hong Kong for the past 4 to 5 years. Most of my technical expertise is by far on the Microsoft platform. So using the .NET framework for software development, using the Microsoft Azure cloud platform for cloud-based projects. I'm really passionate about automation in general. So, process automation, workflows, and also data management. And over the past years, I had the opportunity to help many businesses transition their IT to Azure and to the cloud in general. So this is never a one-off 100% transition to the cloud, because this rarely makes sense, but it's more like an iterative, bit-by-bit transition of their IT to Azure in order to help them save on costs and also help them on the management. Okay, so over the past few years, you may have witnessed the rise of new kind of applications that offer more natural and more human-like ways to interact with their users. I think the best examples, and the examples that probably everybody can refer to, are personal digital assistants like Siri on iPhone or Cortana on the Windows Phone. So thanks to those new kind of interfaces, you can, for example, set an alarm for the next day by just taking your phone, launching the microphone, and say, "Wake me up tomorrow." Okay, you don't have to open the clock app and then manually enter the time for the next alarm. Those services and those applications achieve that by relying on what I would call smart services that we can categorize in the. It may seem to you a little bit shocking or too much to talk about artificial intelligence here, but really the rise of AI in computing, I would say, it didn't take the form that we may have imagined. I mean, we are all influenced by Hollywood, right? So we may have this image of a universal virtual brain that will eventually do whatever the human brain can do. So of course we are out of power. Hang on. That should be fine. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sorry for that. So we are, of course, still far from that, and if we ever achieve that. But on the other hand, we have witnessed the multiplication of small services that bit by bit can mimic, trying to mimic how the human brain works, how it behaves, how it understands the world that is around us. And the actual purpose of Microsoft Cognitive Services is to provide you all those building blocks that you can assemble to make your applications smarter and provide to your users a more natural way to interact with them. What the cognitive services really are is a set of APIs. Okay, there are 22 APIs in total, and those APIs can be categorized in 5 families. The first one is vision, so helping you understand the world that is around. The second one is speech. So here it's about hearing your users, listening to your users, understanding what they are saying, and engage a conversation with the users. The third one is about language recognition, so a natural language recognition, and that's the typical example of Siri. So you can talk to the application in a natural way without having to formally follow some schema. And so using those APIs, you can have your application understand your users in a natural way. Knowledge is about embedding knowledge into your application and having the ability to explore this knowledge in an interactive manner. And the last is search. And this is pretty much about the Bing search APIs that are available as part of the platform. So over the past year, you may have seen that Microsoft has released some new applications with the purpose of showcasing the power of their cognitive services. Even though cognitive services sounds very serious as a name, most of those applications are quite fun actually. One of them is Caption Bot. Okay, so if you haven't heard about it, I encourage you to go to captionbot.ai to try it out. So the idea here is that you and then it will try to describe to you what it sees. So for this typical example, it would say, I think it's a person sitting in front of a computer and he seems happy. I'm 99% sure that's Bill Gates. Yeah. So that particular example is a combination of 3 different APIs used by the application. The first one is computer vision. So that's the API that helps the application understand that this is actually a person sitting in front of a computer. The second one is the emotion API. So that's the API that understands that this person is actually smiling and seems happy. And the third one is the Bing image search API that has understood that this person is actually Bill Gates. Okay. There are plenty of other such applications that Microsoft has made public in order to really promote the cognitive services. There is also Celebs Like Me, where you upload an image and then it will try to find which person among Oscar nominees looks more alike. And I think that the latest one is projectmurphy.net. So the idea here is, so Project Murphy is quite interesting because it's available through a bot. So you can add Project Murphy to your Skype contacts, for example, and ask him questions. And the idea is that you ask him what if questions. So for this current example, it would be what if Satya Nadella had a long beard? Okay, so what this application does is that it relies on the language, natural language understanding feature of the cognitive services to understand your request, understand what you are asking for. And then I believe it probably used the Bing image search APIs to gather all the visual elements it will use in order to produce the result. So I think one key question would be why should you use the Microsoft Cognitive Services if you are looking to add smartness and natural interactions into your application? The first thing to know is that all those 22 APIs are available as REST APIs. Okay, so if you are familiar with HTTP and web development, REST APIs is a very flexible and cross-platform way of exposing APIs to the world. What's very important to understand here is that those APIs being RESTful, they are not limited to Microsoft environments. Okay, so you don't have to run Windows or you don't have to develop your apps in C# in order to use those. Any platform can use them. They are field tested. Most of those APIs have been in production within Microsoft services and products for years, and they are not available to us, but they have been used for a very long time. It's built by experts, okay, experts in the field. Most of those services are the result of years, if not decades, of work within Microsoft and Microsoft Research. So, I mean, the message here is that it's built by experts in the field of artificial intelligence, but you don't have to be an expert in order to use them. What I would also like to mention is that you get all the benefits from the cloud. I mean, those services are provided to you as APIs, so you just consume them without having to worry about provisioning. Microsoft is guaranteeing an SLA, so a service level agreement to you. So whether you use those APIs like 1 request per hour or 1 request per second or thousands of requests per second, you don't have to worry about the infrastructure that is required in order to run this. Let Microsoft worry about that, right? And one last thing I would like to mention here is that it's not really the kind of services that you want to build by yourself. Those APIs, as we will see in a moment, are very statistical in nature. I mean, for example, when you provide an image to the computer vision API, it will not tell you it's a dog or it's a plane. What it will tell you is that, there are 87% of chances it's a dog, or there are 41% chances that it's a plane. So what I mean here is that it's very statistical, and in order to improve the quality of those APIs, they have to be constantly trained with new data sets, and so that the models are improved and so that they deliver better results to you. That's a tremendous work. It's a huge work, and only, I would say, large corporations are able to do this efficiently. So that's definitely not the kind of AI stuff you would like to develop by yourself. So that's the broad landscape. So that's the complete set of the 22 APIs available under the cognitive services. APIs come from very different backgrounds historically. Of APIs that have been running at Microsoft for a very long time. Some of you may have heard about the Microsoft project Oxford, which was about computer vision and speech recognition. So some of those APIs come on the right-hand side. Many of those APIs come also from the Bing platform. There is also the translator. Microsoft has done here is that it has consolidated all those APIs under a same family, which is also very convenient for them in terms of marketing, but it's very useful to us in terms of development, because using a single API dashboard, you get your API key, and with this key, you can consume all the 22 APIs. The three topics on which I will focus today are, because obviously I don't have time to cover all the 22 APIs. So I will first go through the set of Bing APIs to go through the search capabilities of the platform. Then I will touch on the language understanding, which is, to me, one of the most exciting features. And then we'll also quickly go through the computer vision. Okay, so let's start with the Bing APIs. Most of you probably know Bing.com, which is the second most popular search engine after Google. I believe it has more than 20% market share, which is quite an achievement considering how heavy Google is in that field. What many people don't know is that Bing is also a set of search APIs that are available to developers. Those APIs have been used for a long time by Microsoft internally. So they are powering things like Bing, of course, obviously, but also Cortana, Skype, the search feature that is integrated in Windows 10. And it's also used by a large number of what I would call tier one partners and customers. So you may not be aware, but Apple actually uses Bing for its own search. When you are doing a cover that is used by Apple in order to perform that. Yahoo has switched to Bing also a couple of years ago. So when you are doing a search on Yahoo, it doesn't use its own search engine anymore, but it's really Microsoft Bing that is supporting the search underneath. The basic, I mean, maybe the most common API on the Bing. That's pretty much what you can get if you go to Bing.com and you enter a search, and then you get your results. Very easy to use. So within just one API call, you can perform the search. So that's an example for a search about NASA. And what you get is Bing.com to produce the results. So you get different kind of results. Again, sorry. No, the other way. I shouldn't use a Mac to do a presentation about Microsoft stuff. Right? That's why it doesn't. Yeah, I will try not to touch. Okay. So here you have different kind of results coming from the API. You have web results, which are basically links which are links under the first layer of results. You have results as news, as images, videos, and related search. So this is really all the content that is available on Bing.com if you are doing a search directly on using the API. Of course, all this content is served to you as JSON. Back from the API. One of the nicest, because the Bing APIs are in V5 right now, is the ranking response. So the idea behind ranking response is that for each of those result families, they will tell you which one is, they will prioritize actually these families, because thanks to the huge amount of data that Bing is processing every day, they can guess and somehow they can understand what kind of family is the most sensible to present to the user first. So for example, if the search is about something that is trending in the news, then obviously the news results will get a higher priority here, just to help you present those results to your users in a more appealing manner. Besides the basic search API, there's what they call vertical searches. So you can do searches for images, videos, news. So you may wonder why those additional APIs, because the basic search API already returns those entities. Well, if you know precisely that the user is looking for images or videos, then you can better target the results, and you can also provide better contextual filtering. So for example, if you are doing an image search API, then you will have additional filters, like the size of the images, the style, the dominant color, and you will also get back in the results some insights about the results, insights that are powered by the computer vision actually. Same for the video. So the video search provides different set of filters, like the resolution, the length, and one nice thing they have added recently is also within the search results, you get a motion thumbnails. So for each video result, you get a link to a 30-second video preview of the results. So it's a better way for you to present those previews to your users, because all those videos are cached by Bing, so it's faster. And same idea for the news. I mean, you have better filtering about the category, the market, etc. So let's have a quick look. So if you go to microsoft.com/cognitive, you land the homepage for everything related to cognitive services, and you can get information about all those 22 APIs. What is nice also on this dashboard is that you can directly try some of those APIs without having to develop or to write any code. So we can try the web search, for example. So for example, if I search about, I don't know, Cyberport, Hong Kong, then I get all those results that are similar to what you get on big.com. And here you can preview the JSON that is returned. Okay, so here you get all the data about the search result, the images. You probably have those related searches as well, and the ranking response. If we have a look then at the image search, same principle. Same principle, but as I said, you have different filters here. So for example, you can search for images with a dominant color of, I don't know, blue. And here you get all the most bluish pictures. Okay, you can filter on the size, on the license, etc. And same idea with the video. Just wanted to show you the video thumbnails, the motion thumbnails. Yeah. So again, and within the search results, you get all those video previews. Okay, and if you look at the JSON, what those are and this is, I believe, just a link to some MP4 video that is the first 30 seconds of the video. I think that is a little bit slow here. Yeah, anyway. Well, it cannot be reached at all. Maybe I don't have any Wi-Fi. Oh, yeah, here it is. So it's just the first 30 seconds videos of the video that are cached by Bing for you to have basically to provide a better user experience to your users, right? Okay, next step is LUIS. So who knows LUIS? LUIS stands for Language Understanding. LUIS is that's the kind of service that powers personal digital assistants. So every time you take your iPhone and you say, okay, Siri, remind me to buy milk when going home tonight, which is something that nobody does, right? What really happens under the cover is that there is a first step of speech to text that is happening, and then the resulting text is fed into a system like Weiss. And Weiss actually is a real production system that is behind Cortana. So it's not a fork, it's not a side project, it's the real thing that is behind Cortana. The idea behind Weiss is that for each request that is coming in, it will try to identify two things. The first thing are entities. The second thing are intents. Okay, so entities are things that your request is about, and the intents are actually the actions that you would like to perform. So you can think about it like entities being the nouns and the entities are the verb. Okay, so for a request like news about flight delays, of course, assuming that you have built the right model and that you have trained it correctly, then it would understand that the entity you are looking for are flight delays, and most probably you are looking to do an intent of type find news. Okay, so that's how it can understand the request, and then programmatically you can take the relevant action. Weiss has been released as a public API sometimes last year, and it's supporting 5 languages right now, among which you have Chinese, which is quite nice. Obviously, I don't have time to show you how to build a Weiss. I really encourage you to look at the tutorials on the website. They are very well done, and they show you how easy to create a new application, define your entities, define your intents, and then train your model with some examples. And then, bit by bit and step by step, the model gets better and it can understand more random queries. But what I can show you still is, so if you're interested about Weiss, the website is louis.ai. Okay, so you still have some information on microsoft.com/cognitive, but the real landing page for Weiss is louis.ai. From here, you can create a new application. And again, obviously not enough time to do this today, but what's nice for us is that you can play around with the real Weiss services that is behind Cortana. Okay, so here you can see what the service does. If I enter a query like, remind me to call my sister tomorrow. Okay, so that's the query I have just entered. It has understood that the intent is type creating a reminder. So this is very specific to the Cortana application, okay? And that's part of what the Microsoft guys have configured in the Weiss application, because within all the intents that are available through Cortana, there is the create single reminder intent. It has understood that the entity is reminder text, of type reminder text, and it's call my sister, and the date, the start date is tomorrow. Okay, so it has really understood what I was looking for. If I enter something else like wake me up every morning at 6 a.m. So here the intent is of type set alarm every morning at 6 a.m. and that's basically the code that says every day at 6. Okay. I encourage you to, if you're really interested in this kind of APIs, play around with it. It's really what's behind Cortana. So you could say call mom, and it would be communication.make call, and it's about my mother. So I'm quite, of course, there's some very elaborate machine learning algorithms going on behind, but I'm always quite impressed by how accurate the results are, even if you are doing some random queries. Today is computer vision. So the main feature of computer vision is categorizing images. So for image inputs, it will try to understand what the image is about, and it will try to provide to you a natural description of what this image is. This is an API that has been going through major improvements recently. In the first versions of the API, and so for example, for this kind of image, with the first versions of the API, it would say, okay, it's an animal, and I'm pretty sure it's an animal. But now with the latest version, as you can see, and thanks to the massive training that the engineers have done against the model, then the categorization, is now much richer than before. So for this image, again, as you can see, it can see that it's about grass, it's outdoor, it's a cow in a field, it's an animal that is standing. there is a wire. Okay, you may have not seen it, but it has seen that there is a wire in front of the cow. It's staring at me. So again, here it's quite fun to play around with the API. Just send random images to it and see how smart it is and how relevant the results are. Besides the categorization, it can also provide some natural language description with a relevance factor. Oops. So for example, that's a brown cow standing on top of a lush green field. Yeah. Playing around with this one, you have to go back to this dashboard, okay? And within the APIs, you have the computer vision. So they provide to you some stock images for you to try out. So what you can see, for example, for this example, the caption is a man swimming in a pool of water, which is quite accurate, I would say, with many different tags. And also when there are faces within the image, it locates the face within the image. So if we look at the JSON, that's probably somewhere down. Yeah, we have the faces. Age 28, gender male, and you have the coordinates of the rectangle around the face. It also will provide the dominant color, the dominant color, the accent color. So it helps you to, if you have any kind of processing you would like to do on top of the image, all those information can be very relevant. Let's try it with let's not use the stock images because of course that's biased. Let's see the Hong Kong skyline. Maybe just this one. Okay, so if I copy the address and I try it here, so the way the cognitive service would describe this image, it's a large body of water with a city in the background, which is not very romantic, but well, it's accurate, right? It's indeed a very large body of water with a city behind. You can see the tags. There is sky, outdoor, water, city, day. It's cloudy. Indeed, it's cloudy. And it's at a distance. It really makes sense. What I didn't mention, it's also when it comes to categorizing the image, it helps you by giving an adult score, making sure that there is no adult element within the image, racy content, etc. Detect line drawing, so for things like for images like this. It's an abstract, it's not a photo, and it's a line drawing. Yep. So if you're interested in giving it a try, what you have to know is that all you need to have is a Microsoft account, which probably most of you have. And if you don't, it's quite easy to create one. You just go to microsoft.com/cognitive, you log in with your Microsoft account, and then you have access to most of the APIs from the dashboard, as I showed you. So you can try most of them just by playing around with the website. For some of them, for the most elaborate ones, you still have to code a little bit. But basically using the API is as simple as logging into the dashboard, getting API key, and then using this key as an HTTP header when you are sending your request to the API. That's pretty much it. So I've only covered a small part of the APIs. There are many more exciting ones like the emotion API, the speech recognition, the translators. So please have a look, and there are plenty of things to discover there. So if you have any questions, I would be happy to answer.
So are there any questions? Just raise your hands and we'll have people giving you the mic.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It's very impressive. For the training, how it works now? So it just open the API to let the public to train it, or
yeah,
your internal team has an specific?
So it depends on the API. For everything, for example, related to computer vision, the training is done by Microsoft, because there is no custom training that you can do on the models. Microsoft is processing huge data sets to what you should be aware of is that if you are using the APIs, most probably Microsoft is keeping your content to further train it. Okay, so that may be some privacy concern for you, but read the terms of services, because that may be something you should be aware of. Okay, they are probably anonymizing the content, but they are using it in order to further train the model. So for some APIs, they take care of the training. For some of them, like Weiss, you train it yourself. Okay, so with Weiss, you create your application, you define those entities and examples, so what they call utterances, which is basically what people may say, and you help the model understand what's the actual entity and intent corresponding to this utterance. What's also very nice with the Weiss API is that all the logs of all the requests, so all the production logs are available, and you can then manually retrain your model based on what people have said. And if the results are may be wrong, then you can retrain your model and make it more effective. Yeah.
So are there any other questions? Okay, so thank you, Mr. Weiss.
Yeah, one last thing I would like to mention. We are running here in Hong Kong with a couple of friends a meetup called the Microsoft Developers HK. So as the name implies, it's not for developers working at Microsoft, it's for developers working with Microsoft technologies. So this is a meetup we have started a couple of months ago. It's going very well now, and so if you are interested to join, please feel free to visit our meetup page. We are organizing breakfasts every Wednesday morning, so that's one of them. Okay, so that's the opportunity for you to meet fellow developers working on the same technologies as you. So it's a nice way to to network and to share. And we will probably start doing evening events sometimes this month. So if you're interested, please join us. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Mr. Weiss.